There is like a chart I think that I shared with you called audiences starting attitudes. So so if you look at, let's see, Elves of Mirkwood. Well, we kind of modify this a little bit. So it'd be Woodmen and Elves of Mirkwood. So it'd be okay if Riken did this. You have sort of a friendly. The Woodmen have sort of a friendly.
Yeah.
Reaction.
Okay.
Or starting attitude.
Briggs.
What's that, man?
Oh, yeah, now I can hear you. I thought you were muted.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything.
What do you think, Christian?
I'd say you go for it.
All right. I'm going to do it.
Can't be worse than my persuasion. So.
You know I'm bound to roll bad.
Well, hey. YOLO, as the kids say.
All right. So am I just going to roll persuasion then?
Well, Riken has the tradition skill, correct?
Yeah, it's also just a +3. I think it might be related somehow.
I'm sure it is, but just do a skill. You have to go into your character sheet because the tradition skill is not something that's part of your standard skills.
So I just roll a d20 and +3 it.
It's up to you.
Just gonna do that. Oh yeah. 11.
Okay. Okay. So let's move our tokens over next to Galadriel and Celebrimbor. All right. So I guess Galadriel would sort of she wears the pants in this relationship.
No surprise.
It's true.
Well, she's obviously one of the most powerful and eldest elves. She was actually she's one of two of the elves that are sort of in Lord of the Rings that are in the Silmarillion as well. She's old, and has been through some shit too. So she steps forward and she looks a little confused why the Woodman is addressing her when there's an elf present.
Anglin kind of like awkwardly waves, like hello.
Maybe she's not confused anymore after that.
Yeah.
Like smiling.
So she. What do you say, Riken?
I say, my lady, please excuse our intrusion. We understand that these lands are not to be traveled, but we're here on a very important mission, and we've been counseled to seek your aid.
She says, I know of your quest. She says that she is actually a part of the council that set these wheels in motion, with the blue wizard and the others as well, the white wizard, and with the elves of Rivendell, with Elrond. She says that she knows what chases you, and she knows that the Umbarians that took the Elendil Stone is just the beginning. And so she doesn't know the course of action to take, but she says that she would offer whatever counsel or whatever small help that she can. So she kind of opens it back up to you for any questions that you might have. There are lots of things, lots of lore cards that you guys have, lots of items that you guys have. If you have any questions for her, now's the time really to ask.
All right, what do you guys got?
Look at my lore cards here.
What the hell are we supposed to be doing with this thing?
I asked her about my sword.
So she comes down, and I guess she would give you the whole backstory of Angwarau, on how that the sister's sword slayed a mighty dragon, and you guys are all going, oh yeah.
That would explain why the dragon was afraid of it.
Yeah, and so she tells you the true name of the sword, which you already know, and possibly even would sort of would mention the dragon by name, Glauron, and Turimbor, and Gurthang, the sister sword that was reforged. She talks about how the sword is not made from metal from Arda, and how the metal has come from beyond Arda.
So I may have missed something. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, finish up. Right.
No, that was unless Marco has a question, that's all she would offer.
Yeah. No, that's it.
So I may have missed something in the past, but I'm looking at this diagram, Taradon's wager. So am I correct in saying that we only think that we know what two of these things are?
Yeah, that's correct. I guess I was sort of wondering if there was anything she knew about how it was connected to the Seeing Stone, the Palantir.
So, what do you ask her explicitly? Are you asking her someone? Are you asking her about Taradon, or are you asking her about the sword still?
I guess the Taradon's wager. Like we have
the sword, right?
We have
And the
all
commentary.
three. We have the stone. We have the sword. We have the other stone.
So we know what three of the four things are, right?
Yeah.
We don't have the fourth thing. And we don't know what this thing is, Taradon's wager, right?
So when you mention Taradon, and I'm guessing you get out the sort of the little plate that you had with the scrawl on it. It was mostly like it was kind of notes. It looked like. She says, Taradon, that is not something that I have even thought about for many, many years. She says that Taradon was once a student of the works of Celebrimbor. And Anglin, at the mention of Celebrimbor, your ears would perk up.
I love you.
Okay.
I love you too, Josh.
Yeah, I love you. I love you guys.
So you have Anglin. You would have, or I should say, Christian. You have the Celebrimbor and the ring lore card.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now to myself here to see if I'd have like follow-up questions.
So so Christian. So if anybody has questions about who Celebrimbor was, Christian can answer those. But not that Taradon studied with Celebrimbor, but that Taradon was essentially obsessed with the works of Celebrimbor and actually came to Lothlórien to study, and he actually stayed in Lothlórien for a good while and wrote many things.
I'm gonna tell her, like, I'm gonna say, I'm sure you know this, but we're carrying, we think, three of these things, and we don't know what the fourth one is, and we don't know what the meaning of the whole thing is.
So she's starting to sort of put two and two together in her head, and she says yes. She says, do any of you, do the writings of such a man interest any of you?
Anglin would definitely. Sorry, 1 second, Mariah. Anglin would definitely be interested, and he would be like, "Tell me, how many of the secrets of Celebrimbor do you think he knew? Was he privy to all of his work?"
Is anybody curious about who Celebrimbor was? Are you?
He forged the rings with Sauron.
Well, right. Yeah, but I mean, like in character, is anybody like who the hell?
Yeah.
So who would?
Before we move on, who is this guy?
So Anglin would say Celebrimbor was last in the line of the House of Fëanor. He was ruler of Aragon. Is it, Jared? Eregion in the Second Age. He was a master elven smith, and he was responsible for creating the Elven Rings of Power.
He was responsible for creating most of the Rings of Power, but so Sauron basically came to them, and they smithed the rings together, except for the Elven Rings. Celebrimbor didn't fully trust him, and so the Elven Rings were made without Sauron. And Celebrimbor was the last in the line of Fëanor, and Fëanor was the man who created the elf that created the Silmarillion. The Silmarils. So this knowledge, this great knowledge of creating these master jewels. The thing that you see Aragorn wear it looks like a little thing with wings almost. Mm-hmm. The little necklace, the silver necklace.
Yep.
That was a recreation of the Elisar stone, or the Elf stone. Celebrimbor actually created it for Galadriel because he was in love with Galadriel, and so it was basically an heirloom of Galadriel. Galadriel gave it to her daughter, and her daughter sort of gave it to Arwen, and that's how Aragorn ended up with it. So anyway, to catch us back up, she asked, it is interesting that you have come to us with these three items, and she doesn't seem like she knows about Taradon's wager, but she knows about Taradon the man. And
so we don't think she would have any insight into, after letting her know what the other items may be, that any insight to what it might be, what we're looking for.
Yeah, so she'll comment on that, but she sends an elf off to get something, and brings back a parchment, and she says this is the last of what we have of his writings. So she shows it to the group.
Yeah, Angelin's like, "Oh, gimme." He kind of overly excited, and kind of runs up to her and tries to grab it from her, and you notice some of the other elves are like, hey, what the hell is this guy doing?
Huh. Thoughts?
So you look over, and she actually has something in her hand that looks like this. She says, I've held on to this for nearly a millennia.
Angelin shrieks a high pitch oh!
It's old. Oh. So I ask her what she thinks that this has to do with this whole thing. Is this?
She says, based on the whole concept of a wager, he didn't share this with us, but it's obvious that he thinks that he's found a way across the straight road. And that somehow he can, through some ritual and through some magic, some item that he has created, turn on with the use of these items a path to the straight road. But she says this is a very dangerous proposition.
Why? What is that? What does that mean? What is?
She says when the world was created, or she says that the world is surrounded by the void, and that all of the greater and lesser powers of the world first had their home in the void, and she says some that should not be mentioned have been banished back there, and she thinks that this ritual based on the diamond and the objects that you have, that it taps into the power of the void. She says, "Look," she says, "that which has escaped the void," and she says, "An item that contains the very power of creation, and an object that was created with the right holder and with the right set of alchemy, or the right sort of perfect alignment. You know that the Elendil stone, when it was held by sort of the air of Numenor, could look across the straight road. So Taradon was wagering that with all of these perfect aligned powers, and she says, I don't know what the fourth item is, but with these perfectly aligned things in this ritual, he thinks that he's found a way across the straight road. It looks like.
Well, that sounds bad.
Or very, very good, right? I mean, for a lot of people, that's. I think Marco said something in the first or second session about how some of the Numenorians. Well, you can repeat that, I think, Marco, if you remember what you said.
Yeah, basically, at first, the Numenorians were granted long health because of their great deeds in the first age, and they were happy with this, but over time, they grew jealous of the elves and frustrated with the gods, because the gods said that it was the gift of Iluvatar to like death was the gift of Iluvatar, but they wanted to live forever, or they wanted more time, essentially. And over time, a lot of them became very frustrated and started seeking ways of gaining immortality. I said it much better the first time. I don't really remember what I said.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
So Taradon thinks that he can be immortal by doing this? I mean, he is essentially already immortal, right?
Well, Marco is actually.
Is Taradon still alive?
No. Well, as far as we know, he's not. We went into his tomb, right?
Correct.
We have most. You wouldn't think that he would not have all of these items if he was still alive, you know?
Well, you're not sure. You're not sure his interaction with these items, right? You know that he thought he knew where the sword was, but you don't know if he ever actually performed the ritual, or if he was involved with collecting or distributing the items.
Okay.
She offers you freely the ring. She says that your quest is something that's very special for her people, and that the Elendil stone must go back to the Tower Hills near the Grey Havens, because its purpose one day will be to go across the straight road and go home.
Angelin kind of like shrieks and is like, "Ooh, let me see," and like grabs it and starts like inspecting it, and, like weighing it, and like pulls out like a little monocle and is inspecting it like a little magnifying glass.
When you're done looking at it, can I try putting it on? See if anything happens?
Yeah, he would inspect it for a while, and then he'd be like, "Oh, how rude of me!" And he'd be like, "Does anyone else want to see it?"
Faraday wants to see it.
Yeah, so he'll toss it on over then.
So I think I shared the signet ring's powers with you all.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put the ring on, you suddenly hear. Well, both of you. I mean, both speak Sindarin, but let's just say perhaps you don't speak Quenya, Faradir, and let's say maybe Celebrimbor whispered something in Quenya to Galadriel that you understand.
Okay.
Neato.
Okay.
What was she saying right before she handed us the ring, Jared?
I honestly I don't remember, but she offers you the ring. She does say that the Elendil stone can't stay here. Its place is by the sea, next to as close to the road to the Undying Lands as possible. For its purpose, one day is to return home.
So what do you think we should do? What is your...
Well, she says that the nearest ally that you have is in Isengard, and that if you can make it to Orthanc, it's possible that Saruman could sort of help shield you against your pursuers.
I don't like that guy. Smells bad.
What's that?
I said I don't like that guy. Smells bad. So I guess that's it then. Orthanc? She doesn't have any idea what that fourth item might be, does she?
She doesn't. Do any of you?
I don't think I do right now.
Let me see. By the way, someone else can take this ring if they want to use the abilities for it.
Yeah, I don't know that. Other than like Sheer, he thinks it's awesome. Anglin, that's the only real reason Anglin would want it.
What has the greatest gift of them all?
The gift of Iluvatar? Yeah. Death? Where did Tarragon's wager go?
It's in the lore notes.
So Anglin would ask what she thinks is the safest route for us to take for our next destination.
She says that if you head south and basically skirt the edge of Fangorn, you might be able to round Fangorn Forest and get to Isengard before the wolf and his sort of underlings get to you. She does say that she has reports that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that the wolf left Mordor 9 days ago. And that would put the wolf within 3 days of Lorien.
Anglin would be like, any advice if he catches us?
She again tells you that the wolf has been it's ancient magic that Sauron is basically has redone and recreated a wolf in Karkaroth's image, the way that Morgoth did in the First Age.
We should have just thrown these things down the pit with that other thing. That's what I'm thinking. We should have just been like, chucked them down the pit and been like, they're safe.
Yep. I think it's good.
That's funny.
Would it have been untrue? I mean, maybe that thing would have used them. I guess that's it then. We have to rush to try to reach Isengard.
That's what she'd recommend. She says that she can offer you sort of one night's rest in Lorien.
Sweet.
She says that that far fouler things are stirring in Mordor. That this is the beginning of something. She doesn't know what exactly, but
I do.
so she offers this. She offers one loaf to everyone.
Nice.
Nice.
Awesome.
It is a Hortha bread is something that I made up. It's a form of lembas bread, but it has specific properties other than just filling you up.
Makes us run fast. Nice.
It's essentially the haste. Yeah, it's essentially the haste spell, I would guess. Let's see. Movement. Yeah, let me just write that in there. That's what I meant. There's enough for one for each of you.
Oh, I was like, there's enough for one of us. Later, fools.
So Anglin, you take Anglin. Don't you have some other
stone already? Like I said, Anglin would really only take it just out of like curiosity. He doesn't like need the abilities.
No, that's not. Oh. I wasn't judging you for taking it. I think it fits actually. But didn't you have what was the power of the other thing that you have?
You mean like my other class ability or the other trinket I have?
The Elendil Stone. What does that do?
Oh, it gives me the lucky feat, basically.
Okay.
Why? What do you think it was?
Oh no, I just couldn't remember. All right, so you sleep there that night, and I'm guessing you're gonna set off sort of the next day. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's the plan.
Okay. Spriggs, you're quiet tonight.
Yeah, I came in late. I'm still catching up.
Any questions for the group? Anything that we can cover that you missed?
No, not yet. I think I'm finally got everything down. Going to Isengard. Do we know who we're going to see? Did she say? She
would say that the White Wizard. And most of you probably had heard the name Saruman at some point.
Boy.
Okay. Yeah, and so did anybody get a chance to look at the item? So the Lothlórien Taradon scroll. So you guys have his ring, but you're still missing something.
So how does the okay, where is it here? Jeez, I can't find the scroll now. Is that in lore or not?
It's an item.
We need the shield.
Yeah.
Looks like you need the shield, and you need to figure out what the greatest gift, what that means.
Yeah, I guess I would ask her. We should have asked her where the north-south crossroads this tower is. What this tower is? The catacombs. Pardon me.
What's the?
So that's what the shield is.
Does the Dunedain want to answer the tower at the north-south crossroads?
Yeah, Weather Top.
Okay.
No, it's
no, sorry, the
Orthanc.
Yeah, Orthanc. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the east-west road.
Yeah.
All right, so that's another reason to go to Orthanc then, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, let's see. Let me look in the lore cards. I believe Isengard and Orthanc is in there tonight. If you want to share anything about that, Marco.
Yeah. So Isengard, also known as Agrenost, or the Iron Fortress, is one of the 3 fortresses of Gondor, and it held one of the Palantiri. It's like a super tall, black impenetrable tower. And it was built by the Dunedain. Let's see. Recently, Saruman took up his watch there. He basically just asked the stewards of Gondor if he could chill there, and they were like, "Yep, that's cool." So yeah.
So the catacombs below the tower are where this is?
That,
I don't actually know.
according to the item that you just got, yes, there are catacombs below the. If that is Orthanc, what he was referring to, the tower at the north. So what you think he's referring to is the Gondor Arnor line, right? This
Yeah.
Orthanc is one of the 3 towers of Gondor, where there were 4 in Arnor.